In Facebook tonight, right? And I see this picture, and it's a picture of this guy in Tibet, and he's like running down the street, right? But he's running down the street, and his ass is on fire. I mean, this guy, he's burning up, and he's running down the street, and these people are on the side of the street, and they're holding up flags. I mean, it's like a parade, and this guy is running down the middle of the street. Just like stupid people do in horror movies, run down the middle of the street. But this guy is running down the middle of the street, and his ass is on fire. And so I wrote in Facebook, "What a fucking idiot!" And so this guy, I guess, it couldn't have been the guy running down the street, but this guy answered me back, and he gave me this paragraph and said how this was self-immolation. Is that how you say it? He said, this was an act of bravery and self-immolation, and he was doing this to bring attention to the problems and troubles in Tibet. Well, the first thing that came to my mind is this. The world is not responsible for Tibet's problems and troubles. Every country has their problems and troubles, just some have more than others. So that was their first mistake. And then the second mistake was I had to look up the word immobilization. I had an idea what it meant, but I wanted to be sure before I answered this guy, because I didn't want him to come back on me with any type of bullets, and I'm not prepared. Anyway, so I looked it up, and self-immolation means self-sacrifice. Once I saw that was all she wrote on the subject. I said, okay, enough on this. If you want to burn yourself up, you really have a right to. It's your life. I mean, people drink themselves to death. So I mean, if you want to burn yourself to death, I mean, that's your right too. But I just tell you, if I was, I don't even have children, and if I was in Tibet, on vacation, and I would want to, take my kid around to see some of the wonders and nice sights of Tibet, and all of a sudden this guy comes running down the street on fire. My little girl, my little, my Rocky, go, what the fuck? And then I have to, spend the rest of the vacation trying to explain to them, why this guy is running down the street, on fire and screaming. I mean, you can see this guy is screaming in the picture. I mean, he's in pain. And so, he's saying, he wants to show the pain, that people are feeling in Tibet. I wrote him back and said, well, shit, man, I feel pain too. Hell, man, I mean, I ain't want to go into the pain I feel. I have arthritis in my left leg. I have arthritis in my feet. It hurts for me to walk sometimes. And I'm still a young man, I mean, according to today's scientific standards. But, so, I don't know. I mean, I still want to leave it alone because, I mean, self-sacrifice to, let people know that, your country's in trouble. And why don't you stay alive and work with people to make it better? Why don't you stay alive and get together with a group? If it's so impossible, I mean, well, then is setting yourself on fire running down the street going to make it any more possible? I don't think so. We're not responsible for what goes on in Tibet. It's up to every, person, every citizen of the country to help make that country better, or the country can go to shit anyway. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I guess I comment on that because you see these people running down the street on fire, and I still think it's a pretty idiotic thing to do to give your life for something that's not going to even, really make a difference. Like I told you, I said, well, at least it worked. You got my attention. Okay, so now what? Hell, I mean, I wish he would left me his diary before he set himself on fire. Left me maybe his bank account, but we're probably as both as poor as I probably was poorer than he is, believe it or not. I mean, but anyway, but I still think it's harder to stay alive and fight on, and fight on, and you have to stay alive. You have to be alive to fight. That's not do nobody no good being dead. This is Brewster for Brewster-tv, and I don't know what I'm gonna call this commentary yet, but I had a comment on it. Thank you for listening. Have a good life. Arrivederci.